My name is Sari Sawa. I am a hypnotherapist and life coach, but I specialize in hypnotherapy.
Specifically talking about hypnosis, when I talk about hypnosis, as somebody says hypnosis, I can imagine that Hollywood, movies with jingles there just to try to hypnotize.
So from 0 to 7 years old, the children are in hypnosis state. And that's then their subconscious mind state. Conscious mind is our analytical mind that asks questions because it wants to protect us. And the subconscious mind is like how I will call it your data storage part of you. So it has every memory from the time that you was in your mother's womb.
How do you even tap to your subconscious mind?
It depends on what topic or what is it that you want to talk about, because I always say that your body will speak to you.
I feel like if I start controlling my life too much, I don't know if it will be the same. Like, I don't know if I would even enjoy it, if that's the right word for it.
I definitely say that if it's serving you, which means that if it's not distracting you where you want to go, it's absolutely fine.
Okay.
It's because not everyone has to have a structure. Some people work really well with structure. Some people do not like structure, they rebel against it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. JustHamza here, and back with another podcast episode. And today's success session, I got Sari Sawa with me. She's a hypnotherapist, a professional hypnotherapist, and a life coach. And Sari, if you just want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Sari Sawa, as you have mentioned, and I am a hypnotherapist and life coach. I do life coaching in CBT, NLP, EMDR. Quite different interventions that come under life coaching, but I specialize in hypnotherapy.
Tell us a bit more about what hypnotherapy is.
So
for somebody like me that doesn't know.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's a lot of people are quite skeptical about it as well. So I like explaining in my way that how I have seen it from my perception. Hypnotherapy is another part of, just like how we have CBT and other therapies. So it's a therapy, but it does a lot of deep work. So we are doing, as a hypnotherapist, we are able to distract the mind faculty, the analytical mind, to go into the subconscious mind, where we can do some deeper work. So hypnosis, kind of summarizing it, is we are working with your subconscious mind, and 95% of the time we are living our life by subconscious mind. It's only 5% of the day is our conscious mind that's actually active. So
interesting. How do you work with the unconscious mind? Like, how do you get to it? I never thought of it, It's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's quite powerful actually, because when I started to do my self-development journey, when I started it back in about 2016, 2017, I was trying to learn more about me, to discover what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and how to overcome some of the beliefs, the limiting beliefs we have. So I started to learn different ways of doing that. Like counseling is probably the first one that you go for, or talking therapy. But when I remember back in days when I attended a couple of sessions with the counseling. So we talk about whatever is it that's bothering you. Now, some people are okay to just let it out their system, and most of the time that works wonders. But our brain has a system where it can only understand what's going on by your senses. So if you are talking about a trauma or certain event in your life that was quite traumatic for you, if you're saying that again and again, your body is reliving that, and so is your brain. So that's why I didn't know these things at that time. So second session of the counseling, I remember that I was getting really emotional and quite irritated. Why am I? So I did ask the counselor, so what's the point? Like, why are we talking about the same thing? What we're going to do next? And I understand, depending on how the counselor works, they were like, we are trying to process those emotions that comes with when you discuss these events, which is understandable because they need to be released. But for me, that was not my thing. So I had to leave the counseling. But it's only when I started to discover these kind of therapies, and I come across hypnosis, because I was learning all this manifestation and everything, and the meditation and visualization, changing your some of the beliefs that you have, and it's not serving you anymore. So I come across hypnosis, which is a bit like meditation or visualization, people call it nowadays, but this is a lot more guided, and it's a bit more very intense, focused on specific thing, because our brain is very powerful. I always tell people, if you can understand and harness the power of your brain, you can really maneuver your life the way you want it.
Interesting.
So
That's
loads of things there. Sorry.
that's a lot. No, that's all good. So, specifically talking about hypnosis, when I talk about hypnosis, as somebody says hypnosis, I can imagine that Hollywood, movies with jingles there just to try to hypnotize someone. Is that roughly how it works? Do you actually hypnotize the person to get to their subconscious mind, or give me a bit more of
Yes.
what exactly it is, because it's very, very interesting actually to know that.
Yes, no, of course. Sorry, coming back to the question that you actually asked, the conscious and the subconscious mind. It's only when I started to go into like, why am I feeling those emotions again and again? I started to realize and understood by listening to all those self-help books, that conscious, subconscious mind. I was like, that's quite interesting. So conscious mind is something that people develop, or humans develop, as I'd say above 7 to 8, but by 12 years old, a human has started to develop the analytical mind. So from 0 to 7 years old, the children are in hypnosis state. And that's then the subconscious mind state. Just quickly going through, conscious mind is our analytical mind that asks questions because it wants to protect us. And the subconscious mind is like how I will call it, your data storage part of you. So it has every memory from the time that you was in your mother's womb to until what you're living today. It has every single memory. But because it's a subconscious mind, it's hidden. We normally say, the iceberg. So you see on the top of the water, but it's a lot more deeper at the bottom. So that's how the conscious subconscious mind is. And a lot of our behaviors, the way we live life, come from the subconscious mind. And that was created or programmed, we like to call it. That gets programmed in our childhood. So from 0 to 7 years old, whatever was going on around you, you are building a belief, and your subconscious mind is actually getting programmed. And above 7, again, is still you know how we say kids are like sponges. So that's because they are at a hypnosis state. So it's only after, and our neuroscience has proved it as well, that once you are above 11, because that's when the teens are getting in. That's when you start saying, the teens, they're just being teens. It's because the analytical mind started to kick in. That's when they are becoming a bit more logical. But way before, they are not logical. They are more like whatever you say, they'll believe. So that's what the conscious and subconscious mind is. Our brain has this function called pruning, which means that the neurotransmitters are getting created and destroyed according to what we need and we no longer need, which means that so kids have the pruning process fast. So that's why they are learning quick things, and if they don't give up that quickly, the things, so how brain works is, if it hasn't used a certain neurotransmitter for a while, it'll get rid of it. It's called neuroplasticity. Kids have it a lot faster, so because they're learning, but it slows down after 12 years old. It's still there.
Does that mean in the kids, if they are not using a certain, or they're not doing a certain activity, they will forget about that much quicker than us? Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But because the pruning is fast, which means that even if they haven't had it for 2-3 years, but when they come back to it, they'll be able to bounce back a lot more quicker than when you are older. Because pruning slows down as soon as you're 12 and above. So we still are able to create neuroplasticity, which means rewrites our programs, but it's a little bit slower. In fact, not little, a lot more slower compared to kids. So this is what the subconscious mind has the capability, and this is what neuroplasticity is. And then coming back to the hypnosis part of it, the pendulum, that's one of the ways you can put people to trance. It's because, again, we will tell you to follow it, because normally there's another one, is Amen induction, we call it. He was the teacher of hypnosis. He was a psychiatrist, Amen. I don't know his second name, but he probably we normally just call it like Amen induction. And so what we do is we get you to focus on whatever that is front. Sometimes we say, like, look at a spot on the wall, it's the pendulum, or sometimes I'll draw like a spot on my hand, and I tell you just focus on this. And then as I'm getting close to you, and I just tell you to close your eyes. And what that does is the intense focus. And then once you close your eyes, then we are kind of going beyond the mind faculty, which means the conscious mind, because now conscious mind is weakened, and then we can go into the subconscious mind. So
interesting. So assumably, a lot of I have no research on it, I don't know much about it, but generically speaking, with what you're saying, is it possible to actually put somebody into a state where they end up doing whatever you ask them to do through hypnosis?
Interesting. A lot of people say, are you going to control my mind? I'm like, no, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you your PIN number, at least not yet. I'm only joking. Yes, coming back to the question that you said, that can you control their mind, it's not much of a control, because whoever I'm doing it to, they are in the control of their mind. Because that's why, for instance, if I get a client and the first session is always 90 minutes, otherwise following after that is an hour. But the reason it's 90 minutes, because that's the time we're getting to know you a bit more, and we're exploring you, but we're actually building a rapport with you, so we can understand you a bit more better, so your subconscious mind can be at ease with us. Because that time would be the time that where you will be like, no, you know what, this is not for me. Or you would be like, okay, do you know what, I like where it's going, I feel quite calm and relaxed. That's what my clients have said to me. I actually feel comfortable with you. And that's when you know that I will be able to go into your subconscious mind. The only reason being is because we are in control of our mind, even though we are taking, with the hypnosis, embedded commands that we say. Even though there's something that we say, if your mind is, if it's against your morals and ethics, you will not accept it. You will resist. Because I have had clients back in days when I was a bit new, and if we didn't build a rapport, they will resist. And I can tell, because when they're in trance, they won't give me exactly what I want. When I say exactly what I want, as in, like, I want them to tell me what's going on. Because when we put you into trance, you go into like a dreamland. You basically going inside your subconscious mind. I love when I love this, because again, it's you going within you to discover things about you which you don't know exist within you. And this is what we are able to kind of make you, because I like to have like hypnosis and psychotherapy joined. So hypnosis is more of like you're quiet and you are listening to hypnosis. But if we include psychotherapy, I get them to talk while they're in trance. So now they are within their mind, they are in their dreamland, I'll say it. So that's what pendulum is, that it's intense focus. It could be just a pen or pencil, whatever, I think, that will distract your conscious mind.
That's really interesting and scary. That's my honest opinion on that. Personally, I don't think I spend enough time sitting and thinking of what I like, I don't like, or what my mind is thinking. Well, normally I'm more like, yeah, I need to do this, and kind of crack on with it. But that's a different, very interesting way to put it. And for a question I got is, don't you think that asking too many questions would confuse me? Like somebody in my state, for example, I believe a lot of people listening would probably similar to where I'm standing. I feel like a lot of us individuals, we don't spend enough time with ourselves, sitting there thinking about, like, I don't remember the last time I had half an hour sitting there and doing nothing and just thinking about me. I'd rather have a phone. I'll be doing something for sure. Like, yeah. Do you think that would create more confusion if we sat down and thought more about what we're doing and make it more complicated? Or what do you think would happen if
It will really come down to how you feel. Quickly before I go into, you said it's a bit scary. Um, the reason it can be scary when it's unknown, when you don't
Mm.
know what the process is, or you're not sure where it's going to go to. Because when the client come to us, now coming back to the question that asking a lot of questions, when clients come to us, there is something that they have picked up and they want to rectify it. They want to know what is this. So they have, and one of the things that you mentioned about distracting your mind, and it's quite huge, but there's a book called Your Body Keeps Score, and that book is all about that your body, your memory muscles, your body keeps a score of whatever is happening with your mind and in your heart. So let's say that someone has something traumatic happened, and it doesn't have to be something too huge. It could be something like they were rejected promotion at work. Let's just use that as an example. So they're quite okay with, they're like, okay, that's fine, I'll try again. But now that rejection has been registered in the subconscious mind as an emotional footprint, I would say. Now, even though they're going about their daily life, but because now that's been imprinted, it is going to manifest one way or the other. So that means that, for example, if they want to think of another promotion or if they want to move forward in their life, the subconscious mind will remind them, but they don't know it's the subconscious mind, but it's the inner dialogue that we have within ourselves. If people want to know what their subconscious mind beliefs have, observe your inner thoughts, observe that voice that we have in our mind, because it will tell you, yeah, but what's the point going, like they're going to reject you anyway, or remember last time, you got rejected even though you deserved it, but you did, so there's no point. And I always tell people when I do a workshop and with my clients that you have to make that inner voice, that inner dialogue, your best friend, because that's the one that actually drives your life. And that's the subconscious mind. If you haven't got control, and if they are not your best friend, you will self-sabotage. And this is where it comes to you saying that, the question that I ask, in my first session, which is like 90 minutes, I probably might ask like 4 or 5 questions.
Okay.
That's how it's, because it's our job to make sure we create a safe space where you're just letting all out. And amount of time I have had clients saying, just the first sessions, they say, I already feel changed. It's because this is the reason that when you said that, we don't sit with ourselves. It's because we make ourselves so busy, but your body will show up that, there's something going on. It's because mentally we can distract ourselves, but our body needs the emotions regulation, which means that whatever is going on, it needs to be regulated. And emotions is the key. You need to regulate yourself emotionally so you can have a mental state a lot more better.
Interesting. So you talked about that voice in our head. Is that where the whole stay positive as compared to negative comes from? Is
Yes.
that where it is? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
We talk about a lot of the times whenever I sat with a lot of other guests on my podcast, one thing in common that I had from pretty much everyone is that positive energy, or that vibe of, yeah, I want to do this or I want to try that. And I feel that might be what makes it different from entrepreneurs and individuals that are not really pushing too much for what they're trying to get in life. But then now that you mentioned the whole idea behind the subconscious mind and the voice, one more question there. I got like thinking of myself, essentially putting myself in as if I'm your client, for example.
Yes, yeah, that's fine.
So how do you even tap to your subconscious mind? Like for example, I'm just trying to think few bits. Okay, yeah, like imagine myself sitting there and try to think with myself. I don't know where that would get me. I can't even imagine it, to be fair.
So when you say that, you wanna basically spend time with yourself or think, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Because that would be. It depends on what topic or what is it that you want to talk about, because I always say that your body will speak to you. So your mental state is one thing, but your body is connected, so it will talk to you. Because I tell my clients sometimes, because a lot of people who have anxiety, it triggers the thought, triggers the emotion. So mostly it's the emotion triggers the thought, but your thoughts are able to give you a bit of more insight that what emotions you're going through. So for example, I tell people that my parents were, and I think me as a parent has become one as well, that when my child has fallen, I'll be like, telling them off. It's like, I told you not to go there, but you still did. Look, you fell. Really, truly, what a child wants is like reassurance to say, "Are you okay?" Hugs and stuff. I mean, some parents do that. I learned the hard way, but we won't go there. It's because that's how my parents were with me. And when I came in this field and started to learn more about it, and I was like, I started to pick up on my behaviors, and I asked myself, what emotion was I feeling at that time? And my heart spoke to say that I was being caring towards the child. So I was like, okay, so if I'm being caring and I was concerned and worried, what is a better way of communicating instead of being, because me having like lashing out, that only showed the child that I'm angry, but really truly deep inside I was worried. So instead of saying, lashing out or having shown a different, using different words, if you can really tune into your own emotions, you will be able to understand why your behaviors are like this. Obviously, most of the time, the negative ones. So coming back to the question where you said that you want to connect with yourself, but what's the best way of doing it? Definitely listen to your inner thoughts, your dialogues, and emotionally. And I think men tends to be a bit more logical mind. They're a lot more analytical, where women are a lot more emotional, so they will be able to connect with their emotions a lot more quicker than men. And I think that's why men have these emotions, but they find it hard to express, because they are not very connected with their emotions. But if you feel like you want to sit down, or someone wants to sit down and really connect with themselves, it depends that when you're sat alone or when you're sat on your own, there must be some thoughts or something going on. And it could even be like, I've got this meeting to do, I've got this thing to do, like, why am I sat here?
I think the only off time that I personally ever have is when I'm driving or when I'm going somewhere. I'm on my own mostly, and the only thoughts that I got pretty much at that time, honestly, is just, oh yeah, I'm doing this in business, what I'm gonna do different. But next time I'll definitely try to connect with myself and see.
Yeah, it's actually subconscious mind.
That would be interesting, because yeah, you're right. Like, I think even when we were having that conversation previously, I do feel like there's a lot more where we tend not to look into, just because I didn't see the point of it. For example, you saying that we don't feel emotionally connected. Like, the only emotions I guess we know of, yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. But why I'm not happy, I don't really tend to care, or I don't even think about it until just now.
Yeah.
So that's, one question that leads me to is, what inspired you to become a hypnotherapist and a life coach? Why did you choose to go into this?
The reason, again, I think it was a lot more because I wanted to work on myself. I knew that I have limiting beliefs, and I was emotionally less connected with myself. And I can understand, because some of the clients will say that, why do I don't want to feel those emotions. And I always tell them, emotions are your way of your emotions are a way of communicating with you. If your body's going through something, the only way that it will communicate to you is by emotions. So if someone's feeling sad, you don't want to numb them, because that's what happened with drugs, with antidepressant or antipsychotic or anything like that. That's what they do. They numb the emotions. It's because it becomes too much. But what it does is your emotion, and you don't want to do that. I always tell people, there's a holistic approach, because you want your emotions to talk to you, because they're telling you what's going on inside your body. And coming back to what you've said, that you are in hypnosis state just before you go to bed. Do you know when you have that vivid dream? Most of the time you fell off stairs. I don't know. I don't know if you ever had it. Like when you sleep and it just move. And then you walk, and I was like, oh, I just fell off the stairs, or slipped. I have had those.
Yeah, I had that a few times.
Yeah, so
now
that's...
think about it, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it just, you felt that your body shaked. Yeah, and then you woke up, it's like, oh, I don't know why I had that. That's the hypnosis state, by the way. Okay. And even when you're driving, that's just, so when you kind of drift off to your own thinking and everything. So who is driving the car? It's your subconscious mind. It's because you've done it so many times, now it's become a habit to your subconscious mind. So now you don't need to think. And that's what the conscious mind does, is it thinks. So that's why I would say that if you want to, so when you're relaxed, you're tuned into your subconscious mind. And if you have beliefs in your subconscious mind that you don't want in your life, that's when we start working the subconscious mind. And that's what made me go into it, is because I wanted to work on my subconscious level. So I didn't want to change just on surface level. I wanted to change internally, and I wanted it more permanent. And that's the difference between any other therapies and hypnotherapy. Because with hypnotherapy, you are not putting a bandage. I always tell people, like, you're not putting bandage on top of the wound. You're actually healing the wound within and finding out where that wound is coming from. So really digging deep. And then with hypnosis, you reprogram. Do you know, I always give an analogy of computer as well. Imagine, like, if I've got a laptop and I wanted to do touch screen, and no matter whatever I put in, it won't do touch screen because it's not programmed to do touch screen. So I have to put program or upgrade to actually make it touch screen. So that's how we can be positive as much as we want. But in a subconscious level, if it's not embedded within a subconscious mind, we won't be able to bring, we can change for like few days or months, but we will go back to our subconscious mind. And where hypnosis does the difference is it goes into your subconscious mind straight away. So it takes 28 days for your brain to start register something new you're doing in your life. So I always say, like with hypnosis, I always suggest people have 4 sessions, because they're 1 session a week. So within 28 days, I have had people changing, like from when they came, that walked in, you could tell like there's a lot going on, to like 4th session, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna book again because I feel completely different. And so because we've seen it, it makes a difference. And the reason I'm confident about it is because I have done self-hypnosis. You can do self-hypnosis as well, depending on, it's like I mentioned, it's a meditation or visualization. So I have done self-hypnosis on me that got me into it. It's because when I started self-hypnosis and I started to, it's the manifestation. It's very well connected with the manifestation. So that's why when I felt that I can rewrite that what was wrong with me by myself, why can't other people do it? And because I used to work in psychiatric hospital, I used to see some people whose life is just taken over by this mental state. And I really asked myself a question, that is the medication only the solution? And you know, alhamdulillah, coming back to the manifestation, I always say that I've manifested because the Evolve College, that's where I've qualified from in London, it just happened to have the masterclass, and I was like, oh, let me just go and check. And yeah, I did my life coaching with them 5 months, and I did my hypnotherapy with them. And
did you talked about a lot of stuff there, and
sorry.
that takes me to, did you had to heal something within yourself before you were ready to heal others? And if yes, what was it?
Yes, yeah. Tell me which one to tell you, actually. There's many. And I think this is what it is becoming aware of yourself. Because when you become aware of yourself, you know how to set boundaries for yourself and others. That's when you start to have a bit more balanced life. For me, I would say, I think it was more of like not feeling good enough, which is quite typical. 8 out of 10 my clients will have this not feeling good enough. But we don't know that on surface. We always say that this is happening, that's happening, but it's only when you go deep down inside, you don't feel good enough. And it could be as small as someone said something to you when you was quite young, and you, like, someone called you like, oh, are you stupid? I have had a client who goes, when I do the regression with them, you take them back in life. And we have had a 3 years old that she was 42 years old. She had, when I regressed her back, she went up to like 3 years old. And at that time, the only thing that made her have that belief of not feeling good enough, that she was supposed to look after her brother, and he fell. So mother came, and she just told the child that, you're so stupid, you're supposed to be looking after the child. And she was living that until after 42 years, but she didn't know it's coming from there. It's only when we go into subconscious mind and do regression. And mine was similar. It was from the childhood, and I think everyone would be able to relate. Well, I hope people can relate. When you have multiple siblings, and then you always feel like, your sibling was more taken care of than me. I fall under the those kind of categories that I always felt like, let's say my older brother, that, they were taking care of more than me, and, I was not loved. But it's only when you're grown up you realize that everyone have a different way of loving, and everyone have a different way of receiving love. So for me, that's what it was.
Interesting. So we talked about emotions a lot. How would you, as a professional, how would you define emotions? What are emotions for you? What would you say?
Emotions for me is everything. And I hope people can understand that, because I emphasize on the emotions a lot, because your emotions actually really dictate your life. So emotions for me is me recognizing what I'm feeling, and how to maneuver my life to be happy. Because one thing, it really comes down to what is the objective of your life. What do you want to focus on? And for me, is having a happy life. Regardless of whatever's going on, I still want to be happy. I don't like sadness or getting angry. So for me, is anytime I go out of alignment, for me, which means not being happy, I like to know what's causing it. So what emotion am I feeling? For, let's say that, I'm feeling angry. Okay, so anyone can actually connect with the emotion and talk to your body, that why am I feeling angry? And we call it just naming the emotion. That's one of the strategies people can use when they're feeling really overwhelmed or angry or intense emotion. So ask yourself what emotion you're feeling. And let's say that if you was angry, why are you feeling angry? And your mind will talk to you. They will tell you, like, it's because this person said this today and I didn't deserve it. I'm like, okay, that's what it is. Then I have to either self-talk, which means telling myself that could have been the reason, or journaling is quite good, which means that you're writing your thoughts down. But if you really want to get the deeper level of your subconscious mind, try, if you're right-handed, try with the left hand, and if you're left-handed, try with the right hand.
Okay, that's interesting.
How would that be the
How
case?
would that be the case?
It's because but if you're right-handed, when you're writing it down, your hand has a muscle memory, so it knows what it's writing down. But if you're doing with the left hand, you need effort. So when you need effort to write it down, that means your focus is on it. Now you are accessing the subconscious mind. So now when you're writing it down, your body will be talking to you through the writing. Give it a try.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
If
really
you're feeling
interesting.
something that you want to work with, so ask yourself that question and start writing it down with left hand, and just whatever comes in your heart, in your mind, just write it until you know. And there would be some tears, because I have had clients, and I have done it on myself, that you won't realize, and the tears would be coming out. It's because that's your body way of releasing those emotions. And once you've written it down, and when you read, you'll be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that all was going on. So it's quite insightful.
So when you say write down, just write whatever comes to your mind,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
Better, and anything that comes to your mind, just start writing and then reread it.
About a certain topic. Let's say that, I'm feeling a certain way, or why am I feeling this way, or why this is taking me too long. So then you start writing down the reason it's taking me long, or the reason I feel this way, and just whatever comes in your heart, in your mind, just start writing it down, because that's another way of releasing your emotions.
Interesting. So based on that, and based on obviously a lot of experience that you had for these years that you've been working in this field, what's the biggest wound that people are carrying without knowing it?
What's
the biggest one? Like, what's the biggest pain that people have and they don't realize that they actually have it? What would you say?
The biggest one is not feeling good enough, and not feeling that they are worth of what they want. Because it can manifest in so many ways. I can have someone who's having a struggle with a relationship, or I can have someone who wants to move forward to being CEO, and they've been given an opportunity but they're self-sabotaging it. Or it could be as small as a mother wants to be happy around the life. Or I've had actually some of the fathers, they say that we are quite on top of our game when it comes to business. We are doing everything what we're supposed to do, but we feel that lack. We feel that, there's something still empty. And we, when we do the work, it comes down to either there be two things: either be not feeling good enough, so you don't feel that you are worth it. Therefore, you self-sabotage.
Why do you think that's a thing? Personally, from my perspective, I feel a lot like has to do with the social media and the fact that we only seeing the positive side of the life from everyone as comparison to what actually happens. Life is not is a roller coaster. It's not supposed to be a straight line. It's
Yes.
going to be always up and downs on
Yeah.
in life. Is that the reason? Would you say, or there's something else to it?
No, I agree, because social media is at peak at the moment, and a lot of people see that the lifestyle they are living is supposed to be according to social media, even though deep down everyone knows that they are not 100% real. There's a lot of things that happens behind the camera, but they like to believe because I like to say senses. Did you know? I'll tell you one of the fact that did you know your brain is a dark space? If you make someone sit down in a dark room where they cannot hear anything, they cannot see anything, they cannot touch anything, they can smell anything, do you think that they will know what's going on around them?
I don't
No.
think so. No.
No, yeah, because so how do we feed our brain? How do we know what's going on? It's our senses. So whatever we see is our, so it goes back to our brain, and the brain's like, okay, we've seen camera, or we've seen, yourself, and what I'm saying and what you're saying getting fed through obviously our hearing. So that's the only way our brain can predict what's around us. So coming back to the question that you have asked, that regarding why is the reason that people feel is the social media, is because when we are focused on what we are seeing, we're feeding our brain that this is what life should be, and I don't have that. Not knowing the fact that we ignored the fact that so many things that we have going on with us that's actually a lot of people would love to have, but we don't focus on that. We focus on what could be, and it comes down to that you feel that you deserve better, but you're not getting that. And if you feel that you deserve better, some people would be like, oh, I need to work extra hard, or it's a lot of it is in relationships as well. A lot of people think that the relationship has to be this perfect relationship that you see on social media. Social media is just one of the tools that can make you think that way. There could be like the family dynamics. Sometimes you see people around you, they're doing so good, but you won't think that like what you're doing good, but you'll be like, oh, they've got a lot going on, why I don't have it in me? And that's because subconsciously you think that you deserve that, but really truly you don't believe you deserve that. That's the difference. That you can think you deserve that, but your subconscious mind don't believe you deserve that, because if you did, you will have it.
Interesting. So that's very deep, and I think he backs up a lot of the points. I got a very good friend of mine. He always says you are the product of your environment, and he always backs it up with different examples. And I guess psychology proves that.
Yes.
Whatever
yes.
you see or whatever you consume is essentially what you end up becoming or getting. So that leads me to another question. You mentioned relationships, and nowadays and age, what's the biggest challenge that people in relationship are facing? Essentially, what would you say that is? Because if I look around my circle, there's more and more bits where they struggle to cope with each other, even though they were in love and I can't find a person better than this person. But then out of a sudden, they don't like a lot of the stuff between each other, and they're sitting there having counseling sessions and so on and on.
Yeah.
What would you say? What was the biggest challenge, would you say?
Communication. Communication is, I tell people, if you can learn how to communicate your feelings, you will become, because a lot of people are looking for something, but they don't know what they're looking for. It's only when you actually take it out of your mind to say, okay, this is, because when you're talking to people, a lot of people will tell you, I don't want this, I definitely don't want that. But how many people do you know who says, I want this, and I want to make sure I have that? It's because our brain cannot comprehend no. Because if I give you example, don't think of a pink elephant. You're thinking,
I've just seen it.
you're thinking of a pink elephant. That's what it is. Our brain doesn't understand no. So that's why you have to tell it what you want, not what you don't want. Because if you say, if people are like, I don't want men who, doesn't spend, or I don't want women, but what you're telling your brain is like, you want that, because it will take away the don't part of it. So that's why you will start manifesting what you don't want. But in fact, you need to tell your brain, I want someone who's caring. I want someone who's showing me, emotionally available. So this is the difference, that a lot of people Communication is definitely one of them, because when I do relationship counseling, and I have done it not just with couples, with parents and children as well, and it really comes down to communication, but communicating feelings, how you're feeling, not what you're thinking, because your thoughts are coming from your feelings. So if you can communicate, this is how you feel, and then move forward. So be solution based to say that, okay, what can we do? There's another thing that I tell a lot of people about, again, if it can help someone, is Tony Robbins. He speaks a lot about 6 human needs. Every human tried to meet any one of those needs. There's certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, growth, and contribution. So one of the tip, if anyone feel that they want to connect with people around them, learn about them. What need are they is quite significant for them, because for me it's growth, and I didn't know that. But I'm the kind of person, if I start something, I like it to be evolved, which I feel that yours is too, because when we were having a conversation,
Yeah,
I felt like
definitely.
you definitely have a growth need. And if I be with someone, let's say in a business purposes, if I'm being with someone who loves certainty, which means that they like the everyday routine exactly the same, but if I'm in growth, we're going to clash, because I want to evolve, but other person's like, we are happy where we are, let's move forward, but we don't take risk, where growth would like to take a risk just because it wants to evolve. So when I didn't know that, I was used to have a lot of issues in my, and like, could be friendship, it could be in a family environment. It's only because now I know, now I can see that other person is in growth, so I don't expect them to grow with me. I accept them the way they are. But because I know that, I love evolving, I will do my own thing and still be respectful about it.
But how do you know it? Like you say that with very firm belief, I know this is what I want. Whereas I'm sitting here and I know what I want, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't tell you, yeah, 100% this is what I exactly want. I know what I want to do in my life. I know what I'm trying to achieve. But if you ask me if I know I'm a growth kind of person
Yeah.
or I'm a more assertive person, I have no clue.
So we ask certain questions to our client, roughly. So let's say that we will give you the definition of each, and then you can see which one's more aligns with you. So for instance, certainty. Those are the people who like things to be same. They don't like to take risk. They rather be quite calculated certainty. But what we look is first recognize, because there doesn't have to be one. It could be 2, 3, but there will always be one on the top. So certainty is when people like to have calculated things around them. So those are the kind of people, every day they like to do the same things. If something changed, they can't handle it too quickly. It takes them time to kind of, so those are people who's they will fall under certainty. So if they are meeting in a positive way, which means that they are being certain with their business or something, that's great. But if they are entrepreneurs, you have to be the opposite, which is second, uncertainty, because you need to take a risk to see how far you can grow. So let's say that if a client come to me that their human need is certainty, but we can see that it's not serving them anymore, we will tell them to do the uncertainty. So certainty is people who likes to take calculated risk. Uncertainty is people who are just like, every day doing something different. They like things to be differently. Every day, they be here or there. Those are the people quite creative, I call them. They're the people like who don't like to sit in office and work. They like to go out and meet people. So the third one is love and connection. This is quite a lot in some people actually. Love and connection is that they want to feel connected with people, but via love. So they like to perceive love. And they are the people who, for instance, if I have someone whose need is love and connection, the way I'll feed them, like any feedback, it will have to be with empathy and love, and they look for love and connection. So they are the people who will have like a lot of family connections, and they'll have a lot of connections outside because that's their human need, being connected, like quite empathetic. The fourth one is growth. Those are the people who likes to evolve, either be mentally, physically, emotionally. Those are the people who likes to grow in time, and they expect others to grow as well. And if other people cannot keep up, that's where they feel disconnected. But if they know that, this is my need, for example, like with mine, because for me is okay, we've got the foundation, now let's start building it up. But not everyone wants that. So someone who's certainty, they'll be like, no, I'm fine where I am. Uncertainty will be like, yeah, let's go, abroad, let's do this, let's do that. Again, like, it really comes down to what it is. And contribution is, you'll see that in a lot of people who are in charity. So contribution is a way they feel that I need to give it to others. And some of the people, you must have seen that they make food for people, or they do a lot of charity. They don't want to feel any gain of it. They don't care about if they gain anything from it, but they do care about that I made someone feel better. So that's a contribution. So those are the definition I give it to people, and then they can tell, actually, I'm a bit more like that. I don't know which one you are now.
I think growth fits me.
I thought so. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's a nice way to put it, actually, and it gets you to think a lot. And I was just as you were speaking, I was honestly just imagining my friend circle, and we have had this conversation before where I did feel that other needed to grow with me, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get on this and try that. But then they were more on the love side of it from your definition. So, for example, a close friend of mine, he's more into like, yeah, I just want to be relaxed. I don't want to do much. I just want to be around with you guys, and that's enough for me. And I don't want to do anything else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I guess understanding other people's needs is very important to start understanding your needs as well, I guess, because subconsciously you start understanding, okay, yeah, this is what I like. This is where the boundaries are. I don't want to push him too much.
Yes.
Such a nice way to put it. Thank you for that. So moving forward to another bit of interesting question that I got is, let's just say somebody is wired in a certain way, he falls under to a certain category. Would that be, or he falls under to a spot where he's going through a lot of negative emotions, or a negative place where he is. How does he rewire himself? What would be the top tip that you would be you're able to give, that you probably share with your clients as well?
Yes, yeah. So if someone finds that they are in a dark place, negative place, and they want to be able to get out, they need to, first of all, get a help and support, I will definitely say, because a lot of people don't realize, they think they can manage it themselves. I have been there, where I felt like, I can do it all by myself. But I'm glad I started to learn coaching, because when we do coaching, we have to get coached as well. And it's only when I started to go into my subconscious level, and I was like, oh my God, I should have. Now, if I have anything going on, I go for coaching and counseling straight away. It's because the longer it is inside me, the deeper and more worse it'll get. So if someone is there, just be assured that the help and support is available. And I give example to people, if your loved one, for example, I don't know who would be for you. I'll say
my younger daughter.
Yeah,
my
that's
missus,
it.
I would say.
Exactly. So I always say, like, think of yourself as someone that you love, but it's hard for a lot of people. Self-love is very hard for people, because they don't want to think, because a lot of people think self-love is being selfish. Which probably we can talk about in a bit, because that's another my favorite topic. But I always tell them that think of someone that you really love, and they came to you with these problems. If they came to you that I am in this place where I'm feeling a lot's going on, what kind of advice would you give it to them? Because you're not going to sit there and like not say anything, because they're the person that's the most important to you in your life. And I did that yesterday actually with one of the, I do a ladies mental health workshop. And one of the women asked me then, I was like, okay, who's your favorite person that you love? She goes, my child. And I said to her that if your child came to you and said that, I'm feeling this emotionally, what would you have done? And she was like, I would have made sure that I do this, I do that, I make sure that, she's taken care of. And I was like, you need to do exactly the same for you. It's because if you don't look after you, no one will look after you. People can physically look after you because they can see the symptoms and sign, but the mental health is something that until you talk about it, or until it's very obvious, that's when people start to notice. But even then, they'll be like, you're okay. You look a bit, and a normal person be like, yeah, I'm fine. But really, they want to speak to someone. So I would say that first of all, reach out to someone, and don't feel like a shame or guilt that I don't want to talk. I don't want to burden them with what I've going on. It's because if you really look, people do care about you, and if they care about you and you in your normal days, they will absolutely care about you in the days that you are not yourself. So reach out for help, and if you want to do self help, that means you're mentally strong. I think a lot of people can be mentally strong. Just take a control of your life. Start off with relaxation. So relaxation is really important, and it could be via breath work. So doing the breath techniques is called, I do a lot of box breathing, breath work, because what that does is when someone's in that dark place, their nervous system is like not right. The nervous system is going into a survival mode, which means that your amygdala, which is a fight and flight mode, that's a lot of people have like panic attacks or something like that. That means that's been activated. So you need to assure your body first that everything is fine and safe. So the breath work is the first one. The second one is the relaxation, listening to something that's relaxing. Definitely put yourself away from negative environment. At some time it could be harder, but start drawing boundaries where you can have your own personal space, and use your senses. Your senses are the anchors in your body that you can anchor. Again, do you understand what I'm saying? Like by anchoring, because for me and for my clients, listening to hypnosis, or for me, is I have this certain tune that I play when I'm happy. So the days that I'm not happy, I play that tune, and I straight away my body, my brain's like, okay, it's the time for us to calm down. And this is how you can use your senses. And with visually, with eyes, you can look at something that's beautiful to your eye.
Doesn't that feel very controlling of what you do, how you do it, and so on? For example, if I'm imagine myself, for example, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to put myself there and try to see how I can improve as an individual. That's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I start controlling my life too much, I don't know if it will be the same. Like, I don't know if I would even enjoy it, if that's the right word for it. Like, if I know that I have to get up at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be in gym at 4 o'clock. Like, I go to gym when I kind of feel like going to gym. I make sure I go to gym, I push myself, but it's not like I have to get up at 8. I'll get up like I'm feeling a bit sleepy. I'll get up at 9. It's one of those, But then if I have to get the work done, I'll still get it done. But I can't put a timer on, I'll be working today from 2 till 4. It might be that I start working at 3 o'clock and I finish at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But it might be random as well. It might be I start at 2, I finish at 2:30, and I'm like, I'm done with today. What would you say with that as a professional? How can we balance the two?
So I definitely say that if it's serving you, which means that if it's not distracting you where you want to go, it's absolutely fine.
Okay.
It's because not everyone has to have a structure. Some people work really well with structure. Some people do not like structure. They rebel against it. So you have to understand that anyone who's struggling with it, they have to understand, do I like, again, it's a certainty and uncertainty. Do I like certainty? I need to be up at 5 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, I need to do this. Because I have had clients that were going by, they don't have structure in a day. That's where they couldn't do the to-do list, because they can't just tick off everything. Now they feel like, I'm good for nothing. I can't do anything in my life. And all I had to do was suggest it to them. Do you think structure helps you? They're like, okay, maybe we can try it. Next week they had a list of things they needed to do. And because they even did like 3 of them in a day, they just felt so happy. They were like, well, I feel like I've achieved something in a day. Like how you said that, for me, I can wake up 8 o'clock, I can wake up 9 o'clock, but I get the job done. That's the part.
As long as you get it done.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
because again, you don't want to be rigid. You don't want to be too certain that, oh my God, I know everything. Because that's a bit boring.
I've been through that stage of my life where I started to listen to a lot of these motivational talks and podcasts and taking a cold shower in the morning, getting up at 5 o'clock in the gym. I did it for a bit, but I was like, I couldn't see that helping me be more protective.
Yeah.
And whenever I talked about it with some, I don't think I talked with many people about it, but whenever I thought about it, when I sat down and I was thinking, or I was driving while I was thinking, yeah, I tried that. What was it different? I feel like, yeah, maybe I was a little bit more productive, but being more happy, I definitely know. Like I couldn't see that. I was
Yeah.
just forcing myself to do something that I'm
Yeah.
not used to. But
Yeah.
then when I read the books, there's a lot of books out there. They, whichever you need, pretty much everything in every book that has something in common when it comes down to habits is
Yes.
consistently do that thing for
Yes.
28 days. And you just said that earlier as well.
Yes.
Consistently do that until
Yes.
your subconscious mind makes that into a habit.
Habit, exactly. Yes.
But then those is, I don't know, I don't know how to put it in words. It's very hard for individuals or for people, for example, even for myself, to put a number or put a, this is what I need to do and this is how it needs to be done, as comparison. Maybe because I fall into the uncertain category. That might be it.
Yeah.
But with a lot of people, or the people listening out there, I would definitely say that the fact that you mentioned there, I personally feel like you don't need to do what works for the other person. Try to figure out what
Exactly.
works for you first before you jump
Exactly.
into, yeah, I heard him waking up at 5 and I'm going to
Yes.
start waking up at 5. Out of a sudden it's going to work. It is not. I
100%.
tried it.
Yeah.
I've been there. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
No,
It just,
100% I agree that have a personalized approach, because there's a reason that our genetics, our DNA, even our fingerprints are not exactly the same. So when I get a client, I always tell them that what is it that you want to do, not what people around you want to do. And the kind of answers they come up with, some of them get emotional because of like what society is expecting of you. They have lost their self. So what I help them to do is actually remind themselves of who they are and start living by their authentic self, in nowadays we call it, but really trying to find who they are, what they want to do. And that's where they thrive, because when they recognize, I actually want to do that, I'm like, go for it. Because we have this thing that we have societal masks that we go according to what's expected. And yes, because it helps us fit in our society, but whether they're serving you, whether they're making you happy or not, that comes on you. If you feel that you ticking every box that's been put on you, but you're still not happy, that's when you need to start looking. There's your inner calling, we call it, or soul connection, soul. So inner calling, what is you as an individual want to have, and start going for that. Because at that time, maybe people might not be earning a lot of money, maybe they won't be hitting success definition what other people think, but because they are doing what they want to do and they love doing, they're having the happiest moment, and that will make them again. It really comes down to, you want to make your life purposeful for you, yes, for other people as well, but really truly, if you are in a dark place, you're the one who have to pull yourself out. And if you're in the happiest place, don't forget to celebrate that, because a lot of people lack on that too. When they're done one achievement, they're like, okay, what's next? A lot of people can relate to that. It's like, okay, what's next?
I can
And
see
your brain's
myself
like,
there.
okay, let's go. Let's go, let's have another goal. But no, don't forget to achieve it, because our body and brain is built on reward system. So when you reward it, it doesn't have to be huge, but if you reward it, it will do even better for the next one.
Interesting. I mean, you're giving me a lot to think about, and there's a lot that I would definitely sit down and go through for sure with myself to see where I've fallen, and
Yeah, and
spend more
it's
time with my own self, essentially, I
yeah, and
guess.
it's again, it comes down to like, you can have knowledge, but it's applying it in your life. Because I know so much, but really I try to apply most of it. That's why I can speak about it quite passionately, because people come and ask me like, does hypnosis work? I'm like, of course it does. I'm like, you hypnotized to get this chocolate that you're holding in your hand. There's a reason. It's been even advertising. They use such a subtle way of tapping into your subconscious mind that you won't realize it, and you're buying it. So it's there. It works. But it's only that once you know what it is, you can start protecting yourself and start using it in your own benefit. And coming down to how you were saying that, structure, yes, you were more productive, but really truly uncertainty, or let's say that you like to have a bit more flexibility in your life. And I like that approach. It's because you're like, as long as the job is done, and that's another form of self-love, by the way. And that's a beautiful thing to have, because some people are so harsh with themselves that they don't feel that they deserve that flexibility. For them, it's like, if you are a bit more chilled, you don't deserve it. So go and work extra hard. But really, truly, as long as you get the job done, you can still be. And I think this is the difference between entrepreneurs and people who work for others, is because certainty and uncertainty, but how you're utilizing that. So again, like if that's serving you because it helps you grow, that's a good benefit to have on that.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you for that. So, obviously we touched the topic of mental health, and specifically talking about the Asian communities. One question that I have is, why do you think Asians are very reserved about talking about mental health? Or what's your actual, obviously you experienced enough to probably have an opinion about it. What's your opinion on that? What's the reason that it's hard for Asians to go out and say, oh yeah, I think I need some help with my mental health, or
Yeah.
let me think about my mental health, as comparison to, pretty much everybody else is quite open about mental health, and I
Yeah.
know they speak about it, they put tags, sometimes a bit too much as well, in my personal opinion,
Yeah.
but still, they still have that understanding or that consciousness of, okay, yeah, this is where I'm standing, this is what I want to do, whereas I know our community struggles a lot with it.
No, absolutely. I hope this doesn't become controversial. But I can only speak it from my perspective. I completely agree with what you say. I think in our community, there's a lot of judgment. Again, it's my personal opinion, by the way. Let's not
It's
go.
perfectly fine.
But that's what I have observed. But they're scared of being judged,
Okay.
and depending on where you come from, mental health is something that not a lot of people are even aware of it. So it's definitely lack of awareness, because they don't know how emotions for them is a lot of. Now there's another thing that I'm gonna drop it here. I don't know if you've heard of love languages. Yeah, so I'm giving a lot of tips here, but that's great because that will again help you understand about you and the people around you. But don't, yeah, so there's love languages. One of them, the reason I mention is because one of them is act of service. You must have heard that, gifts. One of them is gifts. One of them is affirmations. Again, once we learn which one is ours and which one is the people around us, you are again connecting deeply with them. So, for example, my love language is act of service. And I didn't know that. So when people are, so how do, so it, the love language means that how you express your love and how you like to perceive love. For some would be gifts. So you might have some people like they like giving a gift when they're happy, and they like receiving gifts because that's their love language. There's another one, affirmations. So they like praising you. Because that's how they express their love, and they like that back as well because that's their love language. For me, it's act of service. And what I have felt with a lot of Asians, act of service is one of the biggest love language, because they like to do things for you. So act of service is basically I do something for you to show my love. So for instance, like with my daughter, if she's not well, I will make sure that I'm giving her things like the toys or something that she asked. She completely forgotten about it, but I went and bought it and give it to her, so she can be happy. That's my way of. So yeah, I know I can say that cooking certain food, but yeah, people be like, yeah, but mothers always cook food. It's always taken for granted. I'm joking. But yeah, I'll cook something, or so it's basically a lot of men does that. When it's doing the work, act of work, they'll make sure that car is fixed, you're provided for. That's the love language as act of service. But you must have heard a lot of women saying that, but you don't say you love me, and you must have said like you don't express your love for me. And men like, how do you want it to, I don't know. Because their way of showing love is by providing for you, by making sure the house is protected, and you've been given car, and that's like act of services. But it could be that the woman love language could be gifts, or could be affirmations. And there's two more, quality time. So they rather have a quality time spent with you That's their way of, so they will do the same with you, and they expect the same back as well. So the reason I've gone into this is because my observation has been that a lot of our community have this love language as is highest, which means that if we have fed our kids, we've got roof over their head, they're achieving good academically, we are doing good. But the emotion part is not there. This very rarely I have seen that Asian communities are connected emotionally, and I think it's again like coming back to lack of awareness, that not a lot of people understand that what mental health is. Because sometimes, like, shall I, say to you that you have a mental health, so do I. Because mental health is physical health. Like, mental health, physical health is just a different health types. But if someone has a mental health illness, that's when you can say, okay, there's something wrong with their mental health. But a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have mental health, but no, you don't have a mental health issue. So they're two separate things. In my radio show that I do, I say that analogy that I like to use. I would say that, like, think of yourself as a building. So you have a top part, which is your mental health, your mind, and then you have the second floor, which is your spirituality. Then the third one is your emotions, and the fourth one is your physical. So if you can put this analogy to place, the reason the physical is at the bottom, because you need to have foundation correct. If you're not physically okay, your hormones are all over the place, or you're not eating, it will impact all of them. But the top one is all of them hold a very special place in the whole building. But mentally, if you're not okay, it will react a lot of them, and vice versa. So I always say that with our community, they don't understand what mental health is. It's a lack of awareness. And the reason that it's still taboo, like stigma, not a lot of people, because there's a lot of shame and guilt. The shame is because it's you being vulnerable. And the way we have grown, we have been shown that vulnerability is weakness. That's why a lot of men don't like to be vulnerable, even though women crave that. But men see that, oh, that's a lack of control. It's a weakness. That's why I'm telling someone that, oh, there's something wrong with me, and no one wants to admit there's something wrong with them. But because, alhamdulillah, since COVID, because it's out there, a lot of people are talking about it, it's becoming a bit more familiar. So deep down, they know there's something there. They want to talk about it, but they are scared to get judged. And this is where I say that, do you care about what other people think, or do you care about you? Because this is where the self-love comes in place, that you cannot give someone that what you don't have. I cannot go and donate £50,000 when I don't even have like £5. But if I've got £100,000, I can think about, or 1,000,000. I think that then 50,000 will be fine. But if I've got 1,000,000, then I'm like, okay, I can donate that. It's because I have it. But if I don't have it, how am I supposed to give it to you? So that's how a lot of people are not able to express love, because they don't know what love is, because they haven't even received probably a good love in their life. So they don't know how to love people, and that's where they will lack to even give it to them. So that's my way of seeing things, that maybe
That's a really nice analogy. Like, I read about it, I listened to a few of the podcasts and so on as well. But putting it that way, I think it makes it a lot more logical, or a lot more understandable for individuals. And you're completely right. I feel like there is a lack of awareness, and there's also a lack of, more than lack, there is that vulnerability factor, that, oh, I don't want to show myself out there as somebody that's vulnerable. And the biggest one is definitely that where we say mental health, and mental health comes out like, oh, this guy's crazy, or he has some sort of illness to it, whereas mental health is literally just your health.
Yes,
and
exactly.
as per your physical health. Thanks for that. There's a lot more that I could potentially ask you, but I'm gonna close it off here.
Yes,
And one question that I do ask to all of my guests when they come to my podcast here is, if there was one piece of advice that you could give to your younger self, what would that be, and why? One piece of advice that you could give to somebody that's listening.
I mean, if I could give it to my younger self, he actually did what I want. I mean, at that time I couldn't see, but patience. I think my younger self had a lot of patience, and and I'm happy he did because I see the rewards of it now. So at that time, not because I wanted to, because I was given no choice. So I was patient, but and I think this is where it comes from my religion, isn't it? So patients are, rewarded. So I think that was quite huge with me. So if I can go back to my younger self, I would say that carry on doing what you're doing and be reassured, and don't have to fit in. You are unique, and that's personally a gift to you. And if I could give it to anyone else, any kind of advice, I would say, first of all, is you are built unique, and you don't have to fit with everyone else. Recognize your own gifts and use that to your benefit, because it's so unique to you, you will thrive in it. And another big one I would say is work on your subconscious mind. Work, definitely rewire if something's not serving you. If you think that you're on top of your game and internally with heart you feel happy, that means you're doing amazing. But if you feel that there's something holding you back because there is some subconscious programming that needs to be rewired. So don't ever think that that's it. I cannot do it anymore, because there is so many things that can be done. As a humans, we have been we have given powers, and our brain is one of them. Our brain is very powerful, and again, we didn't discuss about the manifestation, because our brain, and hypnosis is a big part of it, our brain can manifest a lot more of your dreams, which won't be dream anymore. But it's just that you need to help it to rewire. You need to help yourself by rewiring your subconscious mind, and don't give up on yourself.
I will try. I will definitely take that advice, and I will definitely try to look at that subconscious mind, because I wasn't even a thing for me
Yeah.
before this session,
Oh,
so
really?
it
No,
was
no,
definitely
definitely
something
do.
to look into, and really appreciate that. And
Thank
for
you.
everybody out there listening to us, thank you so much for watching and listening to us, and thanks again for coming on this show. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.